Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Okay, so, hmm. Okay. Jai Guru Maharaj, Jai Shila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so now we are entering into a new module of our Bhakti Shastri. That is in Bhagavad Gita. The second module is 7 to 12, which is typically called as Bhakti Yoga. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. So we are moving into that module, Bhakti Yoga. Okay. So what was happening all this time, if you see, beginning initially, I can tell in one or two sentences about each of the chapters, you will understand the flow. First, in the war field, they are all there, and the description of the war field is there. And then Krishna is drawing the chariot of Arjuna between the armies. Then Arjuna starts speaking. Of course, he's seeing both sides and he starts speaking. He is speaking many dharma and other things, how the if the men are killed, what will happen, sin will overcome, and all these confusion words. After telling all these things, Krishna was not speaking anything. He was just keeping quiet. And then Arjuna spoke and spoke and spoke so much. So if you see, the first chapter is fully Arjuna, half of it is the description of the war field, and half of it is the description of Arjuna. He's speaking like a very learned person, what will happen to the society and all those things. And then in the second chapter, if you see, then Arjuna understands that he's speaking so much because he's confused. So what he did is, he approached Krishna and surrendered, and he asked, as a spiritual master, he accepted. Till now, it was a friend, but now he has gone, taken into the platform of the spiritual master with great respect and seriousness. He is inquiring about what to do, what not to do. He's confused about his duties. So then Krishna starts speaking. Then he's telling Arjuna, you're not speaking. You're speaking based on bodily platform, which is typically not Aryan. And then he's telling that means a learned person. He's telling that you spoke like a pandita, very, very expert. Actually, so the so-called panditas of this world discuss so much material. They really, if anybody speaks about spiritual, only is real pandita. Whereas Arjuna is talking so many dharmas based on the body. So first Krishna is telling that you're speaking like a great learned person, but you're lamenting like actually you're like a Anaryan. Then he explains that what is Atma Tattva? First to come out of the bodily platforms, fix yourself in the spiritual platform. We are not the body, we are spirit soul. So in this way, Sankhya Yoga is giving the differentiation between the matter and spirit, that analytics. After that, he is telling that, okay, there is he is telling that there is a varnashrama system, and you say that by killing people you will acquire sin. So you're so confused that you're not even in the bodily platform, in the Kshatriya platform, you are understanding. Even in the bodily and Kshatriya platform, you will still fight. You know why? Is because as a Kshatriya, you don't inquire sin if you are assembled in the war field. So you go to higher planetary system. So you see it as a sin just because they are your relatives, you are attached. So you are overseeing even your ashrama dharma. But Krishna didn't stop by saying that you follow your ashrama dharma. He continued to say a very, very secret way of executing. That is executing in Krishna consciousness, which is more than bodily ashrama or dharma or whatever it is, the bodily based whatever dharma, there is one which is above that, the dharma of the soul. But we can think the dharma of the soul as bhakti only, which is direct connection with Krishna. The exchange between Krishna and the soul. So what is it to do with the material world? What is it to do with how I behave with the material world? This is the relationship between me and Krishna. So there is something in between. When you are residing in spiritual world, everybody is directly a devotee of Krishna, and they are performing various services in various capacities, even as mother, as sister, as brother. You see Balram and Subhadra. So many, we can see all kind of rasas Krishna is exchanging with so many of his devotees and many unlimited methods. That is a direct relationship with Krishna. But when we are entangled in this material world, we have not yet gone into the spiritual body. Now, how to live? You've got Krishna consciousness, but at the same time, you need to perform certain bodily works or bodily duties. How to take it, how to perform it. First, to become devotee of Krishna. That we will see now, that Krishna is going into details only now from the 7th chapter. Till now, he has not touched Bhakti Yoga. Direct devotion to him is not touched. But certain aspects of devotion are revealed. What is that? We will see. Okay, in the 2nd chapter, he concludes saying that there is a Buddhi Yoga. There is a Buddhi Yoga, just an introduction. Intelligently you should behave. So then Arjuna becomes very curious. Oh, is it possible to remain in this world? How will that person walk? How will he talk? Because he is a transcendental person, but he is living in material world. How it is possible? Because while walking also we are doing karma. While breathing also we are doing karma. If you're breathing, what does breathing mean? It's inhaling and exhaling the air. Which actually means Vayudev, you are become indebted. You need to pay for the Vayudev by performing demigod worship or whatever, Agnihotra. You need to have some norms which are set in the Vedas in order to repay the taxes for the demigods. Then rain is coming and others are coming. You see. Then Arjuna is very curious. Then in the 3rd chapter, Krishna explains that the demigods are nobody. Nobody you are indebted to anybody. You're not indebted. Actually, Vishnu is getting pleased by the Vedic sacrifices. It is not intermediary person who hand over. Like, for example, if you do a yajna for the demigod cannot accept the yajna unless it is for Vishnu. So what the demigod does also, he is offering to Vishnu and taking that prasadam, and that prasadam only is giving to his devotees. So demigods are all devotees, and any yajna is to please Vishnu, the sacrifice. He is explaining that. So even if you perform based on Varnashrama system or whatever, that is to please the Supreme Lord only. So you have to perform your duties, and as a sacrifice, every age has a sacrifice. We already know that Yuga Dharma. We say there is a Dharma. So we have performed. So what is the purpose of performing, even if you are not in Adhyatmic or spiritual platform? Still it is for Vishnu. So Vishnu becomes pleased, then rain comes, then the grain comes, and that grain also has to be offered back to Krishna. So one should not take, even without prasadam directly grain, one should not accept. So that concept. So this is the basics. This is not out of love for Krishna. This is a system how it is set. First, he is explaining to Arjuna that there is nothing without Vishnu. So because the whole world, they show that maximum the conditioned soul go back to non-Krishna conscious environment. So Krishna explains that even if you perform the regulated duties, it is to please Vishnu only. But there is something higher. What is that? A devotee actually need not perform any duty at all. But to set an example to others, he is performing the duty to everybody. That is just to set an example. Actually, he need not perform. But still, he has to carry out his bodily activities. Right? So, Krishna is telling that this yajna is yajna bhavanti parjanyo and all that. And then he is telling that you have to have the knowledge of Krishna, and then you execute. Then you stay outside of this, even above this. So how that has to be performed? Who will teach me? The Buddhi Yoga. So he's telling, there is a parampara system I have established. Earlier, for all the kings, I taught them, because generally the kings fear of acquiring many sins and all that. So they say Raja Rishi. So why the Raja has to become Rishi? People say that Raja Bhoga, material people say Raja Bhog. People enjoy Raja, being a Raja. Oh, he's enjoying like a king. No, king has to protect the citizens and take them towards Krishna consciousness, spirituality. So many responsibilities. And so the kings will really fear acquiring a lot of sinful, like now Arjuna is fearing killing 1,000 people, 2,000 people. They say that, okay, some king had won the war and came, wow, wow, Jaya Gosha. But if we see that he has killed 20,000, 30,000 people, then what is the, even if we kill a small living entity, we feel very irritated within the heart, right mind. So you think if somebody kills 20,000, 30,000 persons and their families are all awaiting in their home, like Arjuna is telling. So the kings have to know, because they can guide the society in practical Krishna consciousness, which is more than the regular Vedic sacrifice. There is something higher than Vedic sacrifice. You can stay liberated within the world. That art of staying liberated within the world, Jivan Mukta, you need not wait for the death to get liberation. That is the secret. Even in Ishopanishad, we saw that. The second sloka, third sloka itself, we saw that Ishavashyam Idam Sarvam, it starts there, that you how to remain in this material world, knowing that everything belongs to Krishna. And in this way, being connected to Krishna, we can still live in this world without getting entangled. So that is the secret which Arjuna is being told by Krishna. So Arjuna is only asking how he will walk, how he will talk. Now Krishna has to explain. So first he explains about the Vedic sacrifices. Even if you are performing within the Varnashrama system, it is like this. And then further going, he is explaining about karma, karma, vikarma, everything. And then coming to fourth chapter, of course, in fifth chapter, I think he's explaining that. And the fourth, he's explaining about a parampara system which Krishna has already set up. And that parampara system will deliver you the ideas of how to execute this. That is why we always want a present acharya. We had a discussion in the class about the fourth chapter, that why a present acharya is required. Why can't the past acharya is enough? You don't get knowledge alone. You have to get practical application, how to live a life within this world without getting entangled up, but completely remain in the shelter of Krishna. That's a big art. People won't even see. They will see Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, or Janak Maharaj. They'll see only Maharajas performing various duties. But they don't know that the person is already fully liberated and he is not entangled in any karma, but he is performing so many duties. That is not, but that requires a great strength, where lusty desires and little bit here and there. So in the third chapter, very important. The third chapter, before explaining the Acharya Parampara, Krishna is telling that the sacrifice I have set already for pleasing Vishnu. But the living entity doesn't offer. He either doesn't perform sacrifice. In case if he performs sacrifice and the rain is coming, grain is coming, that grain is not giving to Krishna back or offering. Why? Because lust. Arjuna is asking, even though he doesn't want to, that is sin. Verily eating sin. Even if he's getting grains, not meat, only grains he is getting out. But if he's not offering to Krishna back, again, the result of the sacrifice is again acquiring sin. Is he verily eating sin? Like that, he is finishing. Then Arjuna is asking, oh my God, even if somebody doesn't want to do that, a child is born, the mother directly starts feeding only grain, and she doesn't teach how to offer and eat. She just directly feeds the child grain. So even though he voluntarily didn't do it, he's forcefully given it. Or a person is grown up, the entire society, wow, you know that? Whenever we enter into Bengal, they ask, oh, have you eaten rasgulla? You like sweets? That shop is very good, this shop. So everybody is taught how to enjoy directly, even if a vegetarian, grains or whatever, milk, they want to directly enjoy for themselves. There's no element of Krishna or offering there at all. This is the way world functions, despite they claim I'm a vegetarian. This is what we saw. We had a class discussion about it. Right? And then the third chapter, Krishna is further telling that is because of lust. Actually living entity is naturally spirit soul. That spirit soul is lover of Krishna. Jivera Sarupai Krishna Nityadas. So that's nature. But when it comes into association of matter and Rajoguna, it transforms, the love transforms into lust for me, for my enjoyment, like that. Then the lust is going and sitting in the senses, mind, intelligence, everywhere, is occupying the body. Not the soul cannot be occupied. The soul naturally is the lover of Krishna. So it dominates, and consistently the false ego is giving the information, you're the body, you're the body, you're the body, you're the body. So then the soul, the intelligence thinks, oh, I'm the body, then I'll do well-wisher of myself. So he hears from the senses, the mind, and then the mind is telling the intelligence, and then the soul is getting many entangled. Now, this is the concept which is explained, and then at the end, Krishna is telling that how to get out of this, convert the lust into love. Is that the Buddhi Yoga. The Buddhi Yoga's seed is coming here. The Buddhi has to be instructed. The Buddhi means intelligence. Bhumi Rapo Analo Vayu Kammanur Buddhi Revacha. Now in 7th chapter we'll see there is a Buddhi. Subtle body has the Buddhi, intelligence, and that has to be informed about not the body, your spirit soul. Point number 1. And your Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Your constitutional position is to serve Krishna. This information has to reach the soul, then reach the intelligence. Now the intelligence will know, no, okay, I'm not the body, I'm soul, okay, fine. But I'm entangled within the body, I need to maintain the body at the same time. Intelligence is very good friend, is always the friend. But the false ego is the one which is informing that either it's a body, and the true ego informs that it's the soul. So to awaken the true ego, that somebody has to give the spiritual knowledge to the intelligence, and the intelligence will involve the mind in thinking about serving Krishna and approaching towards spirituality, and then the senses will be engaged in the service of Krishna. Then the soul will become very happy because it's a natural position of the soul. Now what happens in the 3rd chapter? At the end of the 3rd chapter, the secret of how to convert the lust into love is given, but not fully, not in detail. It is told that the reverse engineering has to be done. Now the senses are powerful than the mind, and the mind is powerful than the intelligence, and the intelligence is overpowering the soul. It has to be reversed. Whereas the intelligence will become powerful, is originally superior, so it will become powerful than the mind. And the mind will become powerful than the senses, and then the senses will be directed towards serving Krishna mind about. So the intelligence will take superiority because now it knows I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul. And then somebody has to inform, okay, you're a spirit soul, but what you're supposed to do as a spirit soul? You're within the material world. That comes in the 4th chapter. So what comes in the 4th chapter, if you see, the 4th chapter begins with Acharya Parampara. Krishna is starting. Acharya Parampara only can give you the information about the details of an activity of the spirit soul. To begin with, Sravanam. How it is mentioned, where is Sravana mentioned? Very simple. First, Acharya Parampara is very clearly mentioned. Vivaswan Manabe Praha, I gave this knowledge to sun god, and further in the Parampara, Manu is the father of the mankind. So if Manu is receiving, the mankind is receiving. So in this way, the kings, Raja Rishis, they were all many kings also in Parampara. All the kings, because they are managing the citizens, they need to know more important than the citizens, because they can set the law accordingly. So this king of knowledge is given there, secret. And what happened? Due course of time, it has disappeared. Then what happened? Krishna comes and re-establishes it, speaking to Arjuna, and that is compiled by Vyasadeva. And then we have the Parampara from Vyasadeva to further, Madhvacharya, Vyasa to Madhva, and then Padmanabha. In this way, we have our Acharya Parampara till Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, like this. So there is a Parampara system from which you can get the information every time. Every time Krishna re-establishes the religion. So always and every time, there is somewhere for the real seeker, there is always and every time, there is a Parampara system. And he begins by saying that you need to hear sincerely. What is that? Janma karma chami divyam yevam. What will the Parampara teach? There may be many Parampara, yoga Parampara, somebody teaching, there is a guru who's teaching you meditation. Many may be there. But actually original Parampara will teach what is also told immediately after this Parampara explanation. Krishna is telling that, you have to know about my transcendental activities. Transcendental, not just some Krishna, some powerful person was there, or the incarnation of God, like that. So what is an incarnation? What is an expansion? What is spirituality? Who are we? We marginal energy. So many information. Everything is got by Acharya Parampara only. And mainly it has to be centered around Krishna, his activities and his qualities and activities, name, form, qualities and activities. And then when you hear it, you become liberated that moment. It's stirred. He won't get, a person who is hearing this from authorized Parampara, he is not going to get birth again. He's telling that. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatva deham punarjanma. Naiti mameti, punarjanma naiti. There is no more birth for you when you hear Sravanam. And then further it goes and goes, and then he's telling about other yoga systems. There are other yoga systems, tapa, dana, so many yoga systems and things like that. But actually, he's giving the conclusion that approach a spiritual master. He's giving the tips to Arjuna. Now you know that such parampara exists. You know that they give the information about me time to time. For example, right now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. 5,000 years before Krishna, information is there. That itself, people are not so clear, and we have to preach. Now the new parampara, we have Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara, and the incarnation has come, original. Then which is original, which is duplicate, so many duplicate will be there. So parampara will only show us Janma Karma Chame Divya. So then the live guru, the parampara has to be there to point out the activities and everything of Krishna, holy name, everything. So you approach a spiritual master, submissively surrender and submissively serve, then you will be getting the realized soul will impart that knowledge of Supreme Personality Body. Now that is the transcendental knowledge. That is the 4th chapter. Whatever I told you now is the 4th chapter. After the lust is overcome. How to overcome lust into love? Okay, fine. But who will instruct the intelligence? Buddhi Yoga. Who will tell the intelligence? So when you go and surrender to spiritual master, he'll speak, he will give classes. We are reading Prabhupada's books. We are getting information about, okay, I'm not this, I'm this, how the world is, everything. Okay, fine. When somebody surrenders to spiritual master, he takes initiation. If the spirit, he is serving sincerely. Then what will happen? He is a proper person who is under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. I told you Bhagavad Gita is a continuous conversation. Every chapter is not a separate piece hanging there. Now, from that, a person who has already become a devotee, now he has become a devotee, or he has a guru. Now this person is traveling further into Karma Yoga. Now when he practices Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Now he will practice. Now what he activities will start will be Krishna conscious activities. That is coming in the 5th chapter. What is the difference? What will be the transcendental position? Like Arjuna asked in the 2nd chapter end, how will he walk, how will he talk, and everything. So he will be very equipoised. He'll do every activity in Krishna consciousness. He will be doing from morning till night. He will be living like anybody else. He will live like others, but he will be very fixed up. His mind will not be wavering. Mind can be best friend, or that comes later. But this is the main is how a transcendentalist, qualities of transcendentalist, is the explanation. An initiated person who has a guru who is guiding him properly, and this person is also taking proper siksha and he is executing his life, practical life, according to the institution and instruction set by the spiritual master. For us, we have Srila Prabhupada, who has maximum set up the principle of Krishna consciousness. The details will be given by the further acharyas, but the main principle is given only by Srila Prabhupada, and for Prabhupada it is given by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Even if you go to, I told you, even if you go to Gaudiya Math, there is a Mangalarti, Darshanarti, everything. And that only Prabhupada came and made it little modern. He made it for Westerners, he made it little more comfortable with English translation and a little standard, different, a little bit. He didn't change the thing. So in the parampara only it is coming. And when further Guru Maharaj establishes, they don't establish something new. They just do what Srila Prabhupada did, the same institutes. They are opening more and more. And then that is this. So that 4th chapter is over. In 5th chapter, fully about a person who is transcendently living, Jivan Mukta. What will be his character is mostly described in the 5th chapter. The list of various qualities. And there is many comparisons in purport. You also did some exercises comparing materialistic person and spiritual person. So this is the initiated devotee. That is most of us are initiated, and this is our life. Krishna is talking about us devotees, what he will talk, and gradually is taking how it has to be going. Now in 6th chapter, he is explaining, even in 5th chapter, he explains a little bit about isolating oneself, going to the forest. He starts with transcendental processes. There are many transcendental processes you should know. In that, one of it is Dhyana Yoga. Is explaining certain aspects of Dhyana Yoga in 5th chapter and all the aspects in the 6th chapter. But he's generally calling it as yoga. So he's telling Yoga Ruda, Yoga Rukshu, and the beginner yogi. So anybody who tries to connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called a yogi. So yogi and sannyasi, that is told there, and our Krishna conscious person is the greatest yogi and sannyasi is also described. And mainly the end of the, I'm right now sharing with you in the screen, the end of the 6th chapter. Whereas initially when Krishna explained one of the yoga system, very, very elementarily he explained. Now you see Bhakti Yoga, will gradually take you into Bhakti Yoga, not directly, gradually, but so many slokas, so many 6th to 12th is completely. After that also you will keep seeing the touches of Bhakti Yoga everywhere. But Dhyana Yoga, very, very little bit verses in one chapter, the 6th chapter is explaining. But Arjuna immediately rejecting because it has 2 stages. One is an exercise stage and one is a deep meditation stage. The mind is completely controlled. Arjuna is telling impossible. In all the stages, mind control has to be tried. I cannot do even elementary. Is rejecting the elementary process of Ashtanga Siddhi Yoga also. Dhyana Yoga, I can't do, it's impractical. It's totally rejecting. And then he's asking, okay, if a person is leaving material and is taking up only spirituality, then in case if he falls, any yogi, if he's falling, what will happen? Because these yogis are connecting people. We see that Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Siddhi Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga is one package, and then Jnana Yoga, and then we have our Bhakti Yoga. So anybody who has taken up seriously, he has not too much concerned about materialistic situations. Now he'll become a loser or what? Because he has become akarma. He has become akarma means he doesn't have punya or papa. Account is zero. If the account is zero, then how this guy will have a next life if he is not completing it in this life? He's not going to Goloka in this present life, or going to Vaikuntha, or even to Brahma Jyoti, or he is not reaching Paramatma or Shirodaka Sai Vishnu. So then what will happen to this guy? There Krishna is telling that no, he will not lose. It will turn into Sukriti. It won't turn into Sukriti. Spirituality will be preserved. And then he will be born in either aristocratic rich families or he'll be born in very, very devoted spiritual practice house. Means either if it's a whatever is a spiritual practice, wherever favorable is there so much that he will be advanced person or basic person based on their capacity, they will be born. So Prabhupada is quoting his own example there, right? This is how the 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are formed. Now, when explaining about that fallen yogi is going to still get an opportunity, there is no negativity in Krishna consciousness. It doesn't lose anything, even in other spirituality. If a person is seriously trying to understand who God is, who am I and who is God, what is the relationship between me and God, this relation is actually called yoga. That means trying to understand this relationship or putting himself inside a process in understanding the Supreme. That is called yoga. So many yogis are there, many processes of connection are there, and they are not too very successful compared to Bhakti Yoga. Because there is no information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead in those yoga systems. They know Brahman. Brahman Jyoti is nothing but the effulgence of Krishna. And Paramatma. Paramatma is plenary portion of plenary portion of plenary portion of plenary portion of Krishna. Last leaf of Krishna. So very, very difficult. Whereas directly when somebody knows Krishna, we already saw Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yam, they immediately become liberated. The person genuinely understands about the divinity of Krishna, not just like Krishna, divinity of Krishna, properly through Parampara. Then he is going to be liberated, despite within this material world. So Krishna is telling this last verse. So we are in the end of the 6th verse. I am telling you, okay. And of all the yogis, yoginam api sarvesham madgatir andar atmanah. So this is the last verse which Krishna is telling. Of all the yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service unto me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So, highest of the yogi, topmost yoga system, there is a book. Prabhupada's some lectures are compiled together and called, the book is called Topmost Yoga System. So how Bhakti Yoga is the topmost? Because Krishna himself is telling that he is the highest. Bhakti Yogi is the highest of all. Very, very clearly, directly spoken by Krishna in this chapter is concluding, ending like that. So this is the Yoginam api sarvesham madgatir andaratmanah shraddhavan bachate yomam same yukta tamo matah. So in this starts with Shraddha and there's a Yukta. yukta. Many verses we saw in this yukta vairagya, yukta. 4 or 5 verses we saw everywhere yukta is mentioned. So yunjita. So yukta, yunjita, these words means he was Yukta Vairagya means a Vairagya in which you will be. Vairagya generally means leaving things and going to the forest, or is living like a Swamiji or whatever, going to the forest or the sannyasi. But here Krishna is teaching a technique where you can be in the material world and be like a karma yogi, you look like a karmi, but actually you will be transcendental person. So that is a big art. And this Yukta Vairagya is being explained here. But further Yukta Vairagya, there is something else. So what is this yogi? Madgati Randaratmanaha. So who is this personality who always abides in me, thinks of me, within himself, renders loving devotional service in me? So who is this person? And who is Krishna? This is coming from the 5th chapter. If you go into 7th chapter, 7th chapter onwards, directly Krishna is giving who is God, who are you. Already he told who are you in the 2nd chapter. Right? So who are you is told. Now also he will again talk more about this characteristic. See, in 2nd chapter, what Sankhya Yoga is taught is the difference between matter and spirit only. The spirit cannot be killed. It cannot be withered by wind. In this way, many characteristics of spirit soul is told. But typically, what is the connection of the spirit soul with the Supreme Lord is not explained there. So here in this chapter, first Krishna introduces about himself, how he is Supreme Lord, certain aspects, and then he's telling about the living entity. And then he's telling there is in this material world, there are 3 things. No, one is the matter, because it's the material world, jada. And second is the spirit soul, which is entangled, conditioned within this material bodies, like animal, plants, human beings, many varieties. So the spirit soul. So what is the nature of the spirit soul? What is this material nature? And as a Ishvara, how he is the controller of everything. We also saw in 5th chapter, one more is Bhoktaram Gitnitabasam Sarvam Loha Maheshwaram Sugridam Sarvabhutanam. He is also giving introduction to himself there. He starts giving from the 4th chapter onwards. When Guru comes, from there he is giving at least little about himself. Now he is going to talk more about the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, and then also about the Jiva, and then the matter. Now, and then he will tell, surrendering unto him, he will how the conditioned soul get entangled within the matter, and how to get liberated from this conditioned Maya. Everybody is talking about Maya. Oh Maya, you should stay away from Maya. So very easy method Krishna is giving here, how to get away from the influence of Maya. Very easily, simply by surrendering to Krishna, we can get away from the influence of Maya. That is being told here in this chapter. It's a very nice chapter. We are just starting the Bhakti Yoga portion, and gradually it will become very intense. Krishna will talk about the person who is very dear to him and all that. So right now we'll see this knowledge of the absolute. So Krishna starts giving the knowledge about himself. So absolute truth is nobody but Krishna. So he is going to give you the introduction about himself. Okay, we'll see one sloka now, and then tomorrow maybe I'll give you one more summary of this chapter. Okay. So the Supreme, now he is telling you, first he said, Yoginam api sarvesham adgidiri andaratmanam. Among all the yogis, a Bhakti yogi is the best. Okay. So then he is continuing. Now here, O son of Pruta, how by practicing yoga in full conscious of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So that particular yoga in which you can know Krishna. We already saw that the other yoga processes are not very successful. Prabhupada's writing is because there's no proper knowledge about Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when one gets the knowledge through parampara and he gets connected, then what will happen? Krishna is going to give the knowledge about himself, how he is. But you can know me. Of course, nobody can know Krishna in full. Nobody can know. In Bhagavatam, many purposes Prabhupada is writing. But certain aspects or majority of his aspects, Krishna can reveal to the soul if he wants. It is up to Krishna. If he wants, he can reveal. So I shall now declare unto you in full knowledge both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So you need to know certain things, knowing which you need not know anything more. Everything is compact. Compactly, I'm going to present to you. So that is what he is going to tell now. So this is a chapter starting like this. Please repeat. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 1. Sri Bhagavanuvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
मय्या शक्तमनः पार्थ
मय्यासक्तमनः पार्थ
योगं युञ्जं मदाश्रय
योगं युञ्जन्मदाश्रयः
असंशयं समग्रं माम्
संशयं
समग्रं माम्
यथा ज्ञास्यसि तच्छृणु.
यथा ज्ञास्यसि शृणु.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full conscious of me, the mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Okay, read the purport, somebody.
In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna, and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyotir and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in the 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tachrunu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad...
Just a second, ma. You can continue. I will just explain a little bit about this. Already we saw whatever I spoke now, that is only being explained in the first 2 paragraphs. Where Krishna is telling that here in this 7th chapter, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. So first Krishna is in full opulence, and how he manifests such opulence, that is also described here. And the 4 kind, here we will see that 4 kind of people who will surrender, 4 kind of people who will not surrender. So Krishna is going to tell what is Maya, and he will tell that Maya can be easily overcome by surrendering to me. That is the solution he will give. He will also tell certain people will surrender, certain people will not surrender. So he will list four people category that we'll see here. So here Prabhupada is telling the first 6 chapter, living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated steady concentration on the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness. So the steady concentration of mind on Krishna is possible only by Krishna consciousness, and it is the highest of all yoga. So by concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. So how to absorb this concentration of mind upon Krishna is by activities in Krishna consciousness, not simply sitting in one place and thinking about Krishna. So there is activities in Krishna consciousness. So not otherwise, impersonal Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. So we all know this, right? So there are two, the impersonal Brahma Jyoti is typically aimed by jnanis, jnana yogi people, and localized Paramatma realization is aimed by the Ashtanga Siddhi yogi or Dhyana yogi people. But that is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. We already know. I told you the example of an elephant. Somebody touches the leg and thinks that it is like a tree, this, that, and all. But at last, the holistic perspective is both Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, all the three has to be known in full properly, how they are situated. Then he gets the full knowledge, not one who is concentrating only on Brahman, only on Paramatma. So the Bhakta knows Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So he is of course worshipping Bhagavan, but he has a knowledge because it is partial. So full scientific knowledge of Krishna and everything is revealed to a person only in Krishna consciousness. So in complete Krishna consciousness, one knows the Krishna is the ultimate knowledge beyond all doubts. So different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada, he interchangeably used the word Krishna consciousness with to the Bhakti yoga. So there are two things. The Bhakti yoga comprises very, very smart. The spiritual world, everybody is performing only Bhakti yoga. So in material world, in ISKCON, when we are following Prabhupada, we are also doing only Bhakti yoga. But there is certain difference between the people who are performing spiritual world and here. We are performing in separation from Krishna. But still we are having Archa Vigraha and everything, which we feel intimate and we feel the presence of the Lord in so many occasions and so many processes. Other than this, we also are living within the material world, within the material body. That is an additional thing which we have. So a consciousness about Krishna is essential even while performing other activities. So it is not told about memory of Krishna, remembering Krishna. It is so told consciousness. So we already saw that the consciousness is the symptom of the soul. So you live as a spirit soul despite you are moving around in the world. So that is very, very important. That is why even saffron devotees, I told you, they are handling money, they are doing everything. So it is not affecting. It is not affecting them because they are 100% living only for Krishna and nothing else. So the great art it is. So this is what is taught to the kings. So here Prabhupada uses the devotional service. If you see Bhagavatam, full and full devotional service word is used in representing Bhakti Yoga. The word devotional service. That is the word which is used. So when you study advanced, then you will understand actually Prabhupada gradually when we go into Bhagavatam and advanced subject, we will see certain places he will mention Krishna conscious, certain places he will mention devotional service. So we can understand the discrimination between these two, even though it is not explicitly stated. This is the understanding in a mature way when you go through the other books and everything, especially advanced book Chaitanya Charitamrita, till Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you complete 1 or 2 times, then you will understand this difference. I am presenting you this difference, even though only if you take an elementary school book, you won't be able to see. But a person who has studied college is going to become an elementary school teacher. That is how the students are able to survive in this world with the basic education and getting into advanced school and all that. So not that LKG teacher only will teach LKG, not required. The PhD teacher can also teach LKG. That will be more, but if they are smart enough to present it in a simple way, but the syllabus is simple. But still the vision has to be opened. So you should understand actually living within the material world and if you are a bhakta, then you'll naturally become so conscious of Krishna because you're spirit soul. And it's so natural for you to think of Krishna or remember Krishna or being conscious of Krishna. Sometimes you may not be even remembering, but you're conscious of his presence when in your existence. When you continuously chant 16 rounds for a certain number of years, this develops. It develops, of course. We used to say that even if you take a small peg of alcohol, it is having effect on you. Right? Not you won't take because you're devotees. I'm talking about some ex. Somebody is taking one peg of alcohol, and then that is having effect on him, a little alcohol. Then what to speak of chanting 16 rounds every single day? Don't you think it will have effect on a person? Or it's a useless process? Very, very powerful process. It may not be immediately visible to you, but the consciousness keep absorbed in Krishna. The consciousness gets absorbed in Krishna gradually. Without your knowledge, you are a liberated person, and you live when you accept Guru and you surrender unto him. Naturally, 24 hours, this thought process comes back again and again and again. And your consciousness is so clear when you're asked to cross the boundary, you won't cross the boundary. When you get a situation to cross the boundary, you won't do it. Naturally. Because you're so comfortable now. Because your spirit soul and your nature is to serve Krishna. And you got a platform to serve Krishna. Then naturally, it's so comfortable. Krishna consciousness, sometimes they say, no, when devotees become devotees, then the relatives ask, why you are behaving so unnaturally? Then we have to say, you are only acting unnaturally, I am acting naturally. That is the way a devotee lives. So, one who directly takes to Krishna conscious automatically knows about Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma, everything in full. They will know. So when we go also, we will see that sometimes one foreign devotee, they came to a place and they saw that we were driving them across, and they saw, wow, first time they are coming to India, and they were shocked in every single steps from airport to our house. They were shocking. They were shouting. You know why? Because in one bike, 3 people are going, husband, wife going with the child hanging in one side. So, and there's no traffic rule they are following. The road, there is no traffic police or signal or the lanes. Anybody will go anywhere and come back. So the devotee said, it's actually impossible to be like this. There will be thousands of accidents, but Paramatma is saving them. I see in India how Paramatma is helping people. I saw practically, he said. So we understood that how we can understand from this how a devotee's vision, even though he's a Milecha, they are coming from Milecha Desha, they are entering India for the first time. But still they have the knowledge of Paramatma. Whereas an Indian who is living here, they don't have the knowledge. They call Sanatana Dharma, whatever Dharma, Indian Dharma, whatever. But they don't have the idea of what is Paramatma. But this person, not from the so-called Bharata and all, great Bharata and all, he just came from outside. But there is a great Acharya Parampara who is backing him. So this great Acharya Parampara, which is taken by especially Srila Prabhupada, is the one who is able to just visualize immediately, see how Paramatma is saving them. Because one baby is sitting in front of the father, one baby is sitting in between mother and the father, and one baby, small newly born baby, is hanging in the lap of the mother. The mother is also not sitting both side leg. She is sitting one side. The baby is hanging. And this couple, they said, impossible. They are simply saved by this Paramatma. Like that. Because there is Paramatma in vehicle also, in the bike also, in that bike, in other bikes, in the road vehicles, everything. The Asuric civilization has come and ging, they are going everywhere and nothing happens. Only sound ging. Very rare some accident happens. So they saw Paramatma, they are able to see the action of Paramatma. See? So by practice of Krishna conscious yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, and the material nature, and the manifestation, paraphernalia. So simply knowing practice of Krishna consciousness. So we took shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Because we took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, we get these books, then we hear lectures, then we understand these concepts. Bhakti Yoga is not just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and then following regulative principles. Of course, we read all the books, but the books are translated by Prabhupada. He gives us such a sublime knowledge and in such an easy way to understand. So practice of Krishna conscious yoga one can know everything in full, namely absolute truth, the living entities. So as per the direction in the 6th verse, Madgadir Andaratmanaha, Yoginam Apitapmost Yoga Bhakti Yoga. So here is Krishna Prabhupada is introducing Bhakti Yoga system. Prabhupada is telling one should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 forms. So what is 9 forms of bhakti? How will you define devotional service? We say there is other definitions, but okay, how do I, if anybody asks, okay, I want to be a bhakta, I want to be devotee of Krishna, what should I do? You have to recommend them Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. And so you should arrange for them to hear about Krishna first. First, they have to hear about Krishna. Then the intelligence will get, oh, okay. And you have to give transcendental knowledge also. You're not the body, your spirit, soul is servant of Krishna. And then, oh my God, is it? I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul. Okay, what does the spirit soul do? Okay, I have to fix my mind on Krishna, I have to serve Krishna, I have to be a bhakti yogi. Okay, fine. Then he comes out of lust and gradually he enters into love. So it starts from Sravanam, of which Sravanam is the first and most important. You can see that sometimes they say that the babies, when the parents speak something, it just, we can see in many, many places, like Arjuna, when he was talking the war tactics to his wife, his wife, Subhadra, at that time, Abhimanyu was in the womb. The baby heard the war tactics. So the hearing sense develops first. Same way Prahlad Maharaj was in the womb of his mother Kayadu. And when Hiranyakashipu had gone to do tapasya, he was initiated by, she was not initiated, she was given shelter in the ashram because she was a pregnant lady and the Asuras were arrested by Devatas and Devatas were killing Asuras and all that. So Narada Muni said, she's a pregnant lady, why you are killing? And from Indra, he spoke and took away that he promised. Then Indra said that no, the baby also will be Ashura. Ashura's son will be Ashura only. So he wanted to actually kill the baby in the womb of Kayadu. But Narada Muni said, no, he'll be an excellent devotee. He is an excellent devotee. So Narada Muni gave instruction when she was pregnant about Krishna consciousness. And the baby was listening. So we understand that the hearing sense gets developed first. And that is the last sense Prabhupada is mentioning in Bhagavatam. That is the last sense which gets closed when somebody dies. That is why when somebody dies, even if he's just dead, immediately you can chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare in that place. It will benefit the soul because the hearing is the last sense which gets closed. Hearing is the first sense which gets opened. That is also Bhagavatam 7th canto. It is mentioned very nicely how the ears are the first one to get developed. So Sravanam is very, very important, hearing. This is very important. The Lord therefore says that Arjuna, Prabhupada is mentioning that there are 9 different forms of devotion. You will say that chanting, of course, chanting and hearing. Not hear your own chanting. Hear the message of course, you can hear your own chanting, nothing wrong. But message of Lord Vasudeva Katharuchi. So there must be a taste for hearing about the pastimes of Vasudeva, the activities, the nature, transcendental nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the scriptures, the tattvas related to him, all these things. So Sravanam is the first time. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Tachrunu, hear from me. So anyway, how he is, one thing very important, that Krishna said that go and submissively serve the spiritual master, and then hear from him, and he will impart the knowledge. So actually one has to hear from spiritual master. We have Srila Prabhupada as primary Siksha Guru in ISKCON. So we are listening from Prabhupada and then from these books, right? And also lectures and everything. We are hearing. But what about Arjuna there on the war field? He also has to hear from spiritual master. But Arjuna has accepted Krishna as the spiritual master. Now Krishna is performing his duty of first telling that you hear from me. First hearing is important. So no one can be greater authority than Krishna. Therefore, by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become perfectly Krishna conscious person. So one has to therefore learn from Krishna directly. So how will you say that, okay, I will go and directly learn? You know, Krishna, Prabhupada knows what he will say. Arjuna was lucky in a double benefit he got, that his guru was also Krishna, and Krishna happened to be Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like Shad Goswamis, they were very, very lucky because their guru also happened to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also Supreme Lord. So this double mercy sometimes hit the jackpot is happening. But there is a better jackpot. More than Supreme Personality of Godhead, bhakti can be explained by a bhakta. So the mercy is more in the parampara. So from a bona fide spiritual master, pure devotee, so one has to therefore learn from Krishna directly, like Arjuna. If somebody is there, if during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time we have been there, we will directly hear from him. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said is very, very important to us. Pranadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahisuna, Amanina, Amanadena, Kirtaniya Sadari. All these are instruction. Yare deko tahe kaho, Krishna Upades. Amara Agnya, Guru hoi, Taraye Desh. So anybody you see, you talk about Krishna's instruction. These are all from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one can, and also we have Bhagavad Gita, which is spoken by Krishna. So in this way, we have, of course, information, but still, from a pure devotee of Krishna, is easy to approach, easy to ask questions, and is available every point of time in the history. You can see there has always been Acharya Parampara. Some Acharya will be there, and automatically the really sincerely required souls are taken in front of such Parampara. So we all somehow encountered Srila Prabhupada, encountered Guru Maharaj, is due to this mercy. So one has therefore to learn from Krishna directly and from pure devotee of Krishna, not from a non-devotee upstart. There is upstart. Upstart means beginner devotee, but posing so much that he is very advanced. Why? By their academic education. I am from IIT, I am from big medical college, I am a doctor. Who bothers about your academic education? Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was not so very educated. Even Prabhupada, he dropped out of college in the final year. He refused to get his degree. So he is not with degree. And we have many people, 19-year-old boy, Guru Maharaj, he came and he established the entire Mayapur, which then upstarts are sweating their way up by putting masta masala to very, very rich people and talking so many glorified words to them to get some little bit donation to have their own project. But you see, Guru Maharaj simply surrendered to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada gave the order to develop Mayapur and come and look at Mayapur. Then you will know what's real surrender mean, what an advanced devotee will do, rather than a neophyte or beginner posing as very, very advanced. So that is certainly different. The Bhakti Rupa Goswami is mentioning in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are deep water fishes. In Bhakti itself, there are deep water fishes and there are surface fishes. The surface fishes jump too much and it is caught by the net of Maya or net of the various allurement like name, fame, glory, followers. But the deep water makara fishes, they don't come out on the surface. Very, very rarely they come out, but they remain in the deep water because they're really absorbed in Krishna consciousness, not show off Krishna consciousness. So it's very, very important to listen from such a pure devotee. It is very important from them we learn things. That is why maximum we should hear Srila Prabhupada's lectures. Maximum, and then to Guru Maharaj's lectures, Guru's lecture. So Prabhupada's authorized disciple Guru, not there are so many Gurus in this world. No, you go outside, everybody starting an institution saying himself to be a Guru or spiritual master. They're asking breathing technique, this technique. So many are there. So we should not get so authorized Acharya Parampara, we know the Parampara, right? So, and we know who is a disciple, who is a qualification of Guru, qualification of disciple, everything is given. So from a pure devotee of Krishna, not from a non-devotee upstart. Upstart means it's not fully non-devotee, it's just beginning. He is a non-devotee, but he is beginning Krishna consciousness, but he is puffed up by his academic education. So such a people you should not listen, need not. So we need not learn from them. We can learn directly from Krishna or from a pure devotee. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth is described in the 2nd chapter. Yes, Sumedha, I'll read the sloka, then you read the English. Okay. Thus, it is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto, very, very famous verses. Srinvatam swakata Krishna punyashravana kirtanaha hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati ruttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tadarajastamo bhavo kamalo bhadayaschaye चेतये तैरना विद्यं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसिद्धति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्ति योगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तः संगश्च जायते विद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्चिद्यते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्टयेवात्मनीश्वरे. A very, very amazing process, systematic process of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But time up, So tomorrow we will continue. Only this purport is very large, but otherwise we have very beautiful chapters to come. This is very favorite to devotees, this 6 chapters. So roll up your sleeves and wait for further sweet things to come. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Tomorrow we'll start reading from here. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, if there are no further comments or questions, we'll wind up here. We'll meet up tomorrow. If possible, kindly read this portion, whatever is left out in this first verse, and come back. Okay, thank you very much. Let us offer our loving, respectful obeisances and to all the Vaishnava devotees and Acharya Parampara to bless us with the correct understanding of devotional service process, which is explained in the forthcoming chapters and this chapter. Okay. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Pandebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Jai. Gaura Premanande.